Hello everyone, Agion here with another Ashes of Singularity Escalation campaign. Spawn the bottom side as the... I think I get these names right, in the locations anyways. As a PHC player, we have Philothanic? And I really wish I was looking at the name at the time. Spawn on the north side as the Substrate player, this is Archonhawk. The co-caster buddy of GG the Machine. The GG Machine is... He does work with Stardock, the creators of this game. So, I'm not exactly sure what role he plays. Perhaps for balancing, perhaps for marketing. I'm not exactly sure, because he had General's Gentleman channel. Perhaps just for ideas and support. Either way. Hopefully, I got the names correct. I know one is a... It says Substrate, the player faction Substrate, so they actually may be the other way around. Archonhawk could be the PHC. Sometimes when I look at the replay tab, there's nothing too identifying. I've been trying to improve how, well, let's see, it just says faction Substrate, type custom, opponent GG Archonhawk. So I'm assuming... I know who wins, I know that. So I can probably make any adjustments and say, oh, he was actually the winner after the game, but of course, I don't really want to call the person the wrong name. So, he is playing in maroon color instead of the natural red, hence the custom game. We do got some martyrs coming out, we do got the initial assembler, dual assembler actually. As well as over here, we do got the dual factory. Nothing too crazy. We do got the initial brutes and archers. Going around capturing up the points. The creeps are starting to spawn on out. The dream generator, of course, has a bit more. More and more martyrs coming out and engage. But they're starting to get a little bit outnumbered, but the first initial ones are the AA creeps, so they're not exactly all too effective in a fight. Brutes and Marauders are going out to the left and right side. Both sides, not be surprised, be going up. We'll go ahead and just fast forward. Nothing too really for me to talk about. You got no additional text structures by what I can see. None over here. We do got additional... No, just still the only one quantum relay. Or quantum archive. So, he's a little bit outnumbered at this point. But there's an archer nearby to support, so he will have some high damage. He will in fact lose the brute there. Control looks still largely the same. Actually, the PHC player is sustaining a bit more income. He's captured up more points. This correlates to some minor income. Then you can, of course, improve upon it to get more income. Improve upon more to get even more income. You got these martyrs heading out, but how there's a huge number of brutes and archers coming out. So he's more slaughtered to win out in engagement, but more and more reinforcing martyrs coming out, including actually a squad of reapers. Got the initial engagement coming on out. However, with the creeps sort of weakening up his opponent, the PHC was more slaughtered when out anyways with his larger force. Got the Reapers not coming forward, but they're fighting against an equal number of archers, so they'll just get ripped apart. The Reapers will manage just to do an even trade there. Got a large group here. He could easily push his way to the radioactive, pass into his opponent's economy then. With reinforcing martyrs and reapers will win the fight. We do got engineer moving forward, but he can't move any forward. He could place a far back smarty system. 2 engineers. Over here, we do not have any additional tech structure. We do have an armory, but nothing too crazy. Armory, of course, is a... Get out the Zeus. I'm pretty sure he's going to be out for Zeus, but we do got a squad of a Dominator air superiority aircraft. Unusual. Perhaps he's just worried about any enemy bombers, which that is always a possibility, a valid reason to build them. We do got the first Athena coming out. I would have liked to see Zeus. We do got the Zeus over here. We see some medics, but the other side hasn't got any capacitors either, so nothing too crazy. Athena is coming out. We'll get hit by a number of Reapers. Reapers are, of course, the anti-cruiser frigate. We do got the engagement over here. Looks like the Substrate player managed to secure up the point. However, the large number of brutes and archers will win out. We got this engagement now going on forward. There's just a huge amount of PHC. I think he's actually going to win out, but his forces are very split up, so his units will be picked apart by one. He needed to group them up, perhaps in an army formation move. We got some Dominators moving on in, as well as an Air Rampager. No, that's a Punisher, never mind. We do have Substrate aircraft coming in. This is where all this additional teching has came in. Instead of going for cruisers, he went for aircraft. We do also got some Sky Cleaners here as well. They're not exactly too effective for ground units. It looks like the overwhelming PHC ground force will break through, but he does not have a retaliation fire. You may want to build some constables along the front line, but he's going to lose a Turanium generator to these aircraft. He may secure it or neutralize it at most, but that's it. Currently, the Turanium generator is in 10% in favor of the Substrate player. We got some Martyrs coming out, as well as some Reapers to harass his force, but I think this force is too large. Here we go. We got some constables for backline AA defense. A number of these archers managed to escape out of there, but being picked off there, or at least one of them. You got a substantial fortifications over here. You have a defense force here, so I think the brutes and archers will win out, but the archers were in the front there. Problematic. Also getting some medics more and more mixed in. This force was defended out, just killing off the two brutes, just leaving the two archers. One of the Punishers was cleaned up by the constable. The other one is sustaining a huge amount of fire as well. And the Substrate player has a greater military strength, but that's pretty much all into that bomber, I think. There's another one down here. We do got more and more factories coming up for the PHC player. I haven't seen too many more factories for the Substrate player, including the Sky Factory, so he's getting some air supported fighters of his own. Do got Assault coming on out. Do got another Constable up. He may want to invest into something to repair that Constable. There is a Zeus as well, a couple of Athena in this force. There's not a whole lot of defenses. The radioactive there will get cleaned up. This Turanium generator also has 4 metals for 2 radioactive, so it does provide quite a bit of income of its own. So while you may not really be focusing on Turanium generator points or Turanium, you want to secure the area for the income. You got the other bomber coming on in, still no air superiority. Here we go, we do got some air superiority coming on out. We could see some Apollo AA weapons as well. Down south here, looks like we've got a Substrate counterattack. There is a cruiser mix along with it, as well as the bomber. Air superiority fighters, there is plenty here. The Substrate air superiority fighters did in fact get cleaned up by the Constable, so it has sustained. The Constable did quite a bit of work. And the army strengths are relatively even, getting more and more air superiority fighters. Over here is a bit problematic. He is building a Smarty systems for defense. The But there is a cruiser along with the mix, so he will have a bit of trouble with that. Looks like we got the Substrate players eyeing for his push now. There is a number of medics now for repairing his forces. Engineers building the resource extractors on the front line. And we've got the first big engagement here. Oh, the biggest so far yet. However, the Zeus of substantial ground forces, the PHC players definitely saw the win now. Air superiority fighters are coming on in now. However, this force is getting very mixed up. Really hard to tell who's actually winning. I think the PHC player is currently winning. Air superiority fighters are just slowly making their way, cleaning up the force. More and more bombers coming on in. I think that actually may turn the ground better, but we got a huge reinforcement wave coming in of the PHC. The enemy bombers have been cleaned up. The Substrate bombers. Over here, we do got a force moving forward, which will destroy the radioactives. We've got a large number of factory assemblers over here as well. So we do have forward production over here. We've got this push forward here. The smarty system is trying to defend, but the engineer does get cleaned up. There's still a bomber here getting attacked from multiple flanks. He could try pushing forward himself, or he could try defending. He's lost quite a bit of ground over here, which is very problematic. Do we have any unique tech structures? We do in fact have an orbital fabricator, so incursions are now available as well as sentries. Over here, we do just now have a quantum jammer coming up, but we do also have a gateway. We could try holding the line for our Tyrannium victory, but he's losing a substantial amount of ground over here now. He's going to be cut off here, but there's no resources to cut off. Because first off, this point will be attached through here. This point has nothing here. But losing the armory is very problematic. That is his only armory. That's providing all of his cruisers. Army composition is in favor of the PHC player. He is counterattacking over here, but he's going to need to call in both incursion and sentries in order to even have a chance of stalling this out, as well as perhaps a or an emergency turret may win him the engagement here. But this is a very scary force to have behind your lines. Tyrannium generator is currently 20% in favor of the PHC player. And there goes all those resource points. He has spotted the armory. Taking that out actually is critical. As I stated before, no other cruiser production. You got some reinforcements coming on in. We may need to eye building another refinery armory now. Zeus is doing quite a bit of damage. You got incursion coming on out. The army has sustained critical amount of damage. You do got a serpentine turret. And did my game just crash? Crashed. Right. Big lag spike. That's definitely on my side. I'm recording at a very high rate. Currently encoding overloaded. Hopefully that will settle down. There you go. That has settled down. We do got a large engagement over here. He did in fact save the armory just barely, but the serpentine turret is still picking away his units. We got constable here for drone defense. There is in fact a drone hive. There's just this forces here is largely an air superiority force. However, we do got some bombers, enemy bombers coming in now. So having these air superiority fighters are actually quite nice. I just realized there's an engineer sapper on the field because we do got a large number of sapper turrets. Sapper turrets are, of course, cheap, very easy to place. They're actually getting nerfed. I think that may be reasonable, from 5 seconds to 10 seconds, as well as no longer shooting up air. You got some artillery here. We just need a searcher, radar, reconnaissance aircraft in order to have some radar contacts to have his artillery to actually accurately hit areas. You got another attack over here, so he's spending his reinforcements to engage his northern flank, which is a bit problematic. He can't really... He doesn't have much of the defense force over here. That's mostly aircraft. And this offensive force here is a bit overwhelming. However, we do got this large offensive force over here, which needs to start pushing in, start destroying some infrastructure. Because he's going to receive non-stop attacks from north, and he does not have suitable defenses up that direction. You got a dread launch being built, but it's still a hefty investment trying to get a dreadnought out, especially when you are losing a huge amount of ground here. You lost the metal here and is currently decaptured. You got a response force over here, may want to call an incursion. Yes, we do have incursions for bolstering his forces. They're still streaming in enemy reinforcements. An air fight has been initiated, but just way too many PHC aircraft with the substrate to really do anything with aircraft. He could go ahead and just start canceling his air production. We do got an engineer here building an annihilator cannon. That it will be a nasty thing to have on your reinforcement line. And we just only got a handful of brutes and archers as well as a medic here for defense. Very problematic. And we got this substantial force still building up here, while there is a number of actually defenses coming on up. This force here is very problematic. We will see this force repositioning down south. There's a number of defenses here, but only nothing too much, just a couple of smarties. Actually, a smarty and sentinel, as well as a constable. His armory is still holding up. He can't be losing it now. The launch has been finished, but he does not have the income to really support it. His armor is still holding strong, just barely. And this substantial force is not coming on in. Just minor defenses here. See stuff exploding. I think these are drones or perhaps even artillery I'm not really seeing. That's just general desync. That may be from the aircraft as well, the bombers. Now we do got this point being secured. There goes the armory. There goes all of his cruiser production. Thorium generator is at 50%. If he's trying to, he can be able to stall out. His opponent's not actively engaging it, and it allows him time to build up defenses. But you will need to build defenses around his core at this rate as well. He has plenty of metal, so he can place down a big build-up. He could place down perhaps 5, 6 smarty systems to stall out his core from getting destroyed. You got an advanced sky factory coming in out. He may be eyeing for a strategic bomber, a very good option there. It looks like the Dread launch facility will be spotted. I'm not exactly sure why he built the Dread launch. This advanced sky factory, he's not currently utilizing his income. Do we have a repair bay? Yes, we do in fact have a repair bay, as well as an orbital nullifier. Good thing you got that. You gotta build up various frigates here, as well as some bombers to go along with it to save his Dread launch. But the Dread launch at this rate is going to be destroyed. There goes. The Dread Launch is now down. You got a number of Annihilator turrets here, as well as a Blossom Launcher. Yeah, that PHC force just got cleaned up. There's also a couple Sky Cleaners up hitting the aircraft as well. And the turning points are almost 70% in favor of the PHC player. I think he's trying to hold out for that victory, but we got substantial forces just cleaning his back a line. He needs to actually just start building some smarty systems around his base, around his core. Has to repair bay to repair his core, just to stall out. These drones, I don't think they're actually there. I keep on seeing a colon down at this point. Not so sure why it's constable. That's just a visual bug. You got a number of sapper turrets along the back line as well, so yes, his rear actually more covered than his frontal. But now we do got assault onto this base. Currently, turning gen points is at 350. That is now 70%. The factories are starting to get hit. This core is going to be very exposed. This game still could go either way. He's not aggressively pushing. He doesn't need to capture up that point. He either needs to capture up this or go for the throat and go for the kill. He's now wreaking havoc to his opponent's structures. He's starting to build up some smarty systems now, a little bit too late. He needs to get a couple more engineers as well. Perhaps rally reinforcements to his core just to hold out. He knows his opponent's going to be eyeing to go for the core. He doesn't need to build more defenses there. He could call in some engineers perhaps. But this core is very exposed at the moment. This is a large force. You got power regulator. He needs something. He needs to call in everything that he can. Incursions. He has quite a bit of quanta as well. There goes an engineer. Only one system has been built. Now it's just leaving the core to fight itself with one smarty system. Huge amount of enemy reinforcements are going upon the core. The turning points are at 400 out of 500. That's only 80%. This is a substantial force coming on in. I don't think he has enough time. You really should have built more smarty systems early on. Going to just fast forward. This is just a slow moving death at this rate. You could go ahead and disband the army in order to so they can move independently. Force now sustaining fire. He's been I think he's focused his quanta onto health. Substantial amount of damage has been sustained. Currently, the turning core is at nearly 90%. But his Nexus has sustained a huge amount of fire, and there you go. Destroyed. And then officially gets destroyed. Then the winner was of the game was Philothanic. So this was in fact GG down here. Philothanic was in fact the Substrate player. This is Agion saying thank you for watching and signing off.